That was really effective. I'm John Rentham with my review of the Shudder exclusive 32 Malasana Street. It's set in the 1970s in Madrid, Spain, and focuses on the family that moves from a Spanish village to the big city. The father, the mother, they want to give their children a better life. And also they have a sick grandpa that they want to, maybe, have, they could have access to medical care and give him a better life. It's like, hey, you've been really good to us, grandpa. We want you to have a better life in this big city. They also have a teenage daughter that has big dreams of achieving, a good career. And they have a young boy that they want to just raise in a big city. And everything's happy-go-lucky. They got a new flat. Nothing bad happens except it's a horror movie, so of course there's a dark past with this flat. And that starts to affect this family and fracture them to the point where they have to band together to fight back against this dark past and this evil force that plagues this flat. But why is this evil force plaguing this flat? We find out as the movie goes on. I wasn't so sure how this was going to turn out considering, the description. While good, I don't think does it justice. This was really damn effective. Really good family dynamic with this. A lot of good horror movies with some good family dynamic going on. This kind of reminded me of a Netflix original, The Binding, which also had a good family dynamic to it. In this, the mother and the father get, they kind of are at odds about it. The father wanted to achieve this better life. The mother was happy in the village. It seemed like the kids were too. But they're trying to adjust to this new life. Now, I will get into spoilers here in a little bit, but with this, the flat, it turns out this dark past actually isn't quite what I expected. I mean, it kind of goes one way and then goes a whole nother way where I'm like, okay, that's actually a pretty damn good way to do it. It actually makes a whole lot of sense why these things are happening the way they are and why, certain people are being targeted the way they are. The dad gets a job in automotive. The mother gets a job in retail. The grandfather's sick, but the grandfather also sees a lot of weird things because the grandfather naturally, he's the kind where he's not well, but he's well enough to say, oh, well, some stuff's going to happen here. And, we probably shouldn't be here. He doesn't say that, but he might as well say that. The daughter starts to see some things as well. And the impressionable young boy, Rafa, is, he starts seeing some things and everything because it's pretty quick and effective how things start going down suddenly. It is an expertly paced movie. There are a couple moments where you're like, okay, maybe this could have been trimmed down a little bit. But as far as haunted house movies and anything dealing with demonic forces and ghosts and stuff like that and steeped in family tragedy, a lot of these factors rolled into one, it really does work pretty damn well. I mean, I'm very much trying to avoid spoilers here, but as the daughter digs into the past a little more, things aren't quite what they seem. The son does go missing at one point and is found, and then things really kick into high gear. So around the third act is really where, like the last 40 minutes, is really where things start to kick up, and it actually works out pretty damn well. And the explanation at the end is like, oh, that actually makes a whole lot of sense. There are some times where people can be kind of dicks. And that can lead to some people, maybe not being able to move on for a variety of reasons. And they're the reason that this ghost is doing what they're doing actually makes a whole lot of sense. Even if it's something I would do, they're a ghost. And they wanted something that they didn't get in, life, so they're going to get it in death. And they're going to haunt people until they get that, as a ghost will do. But honestly, the atmospheric, work in this is pretty damn good. The way they make this flat seem like it's almost alive is pretty good. The ghostly scares are pretty well done. There's a few things where I was like, okay, maybe the language barrier might be too much for people, but it explains it in a way where it actually is more effective than not. And with the good acting and a really good, family like dynamic and the fact that they actually seem like a close family. They don't just seem like they're characters. They actually seem like they could be a family. Everything works out to an extent, but it does leave the possibility open where it's like, you can maybe you can escape this, maybe you can't, we'll have to fucking see. But, I don't think they're going to do 32 Malasana Street 2 Electric Boogaloo, but that being said, it actually wraps up decently where everything works out. Even if there's maybe something that's going to happen the next time, this flat is rented out to somebody. So I will say that I'm going to get into spoilers right now without getting into too many right there. So if you're still here, 3, 2, 1, and go, 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 go. Spoilers. Spoilers. Do see this movie, by the way, but spoilers. So, the idea with this, this ghost, there's this ghost that's haunting this flat. It starts in 1972, and there are these two boys. One loses his marble, not literally going crazy, ends up in the house or in the flat of this old lady, and this kid ends up getting attacked. And what ends up happening is 4 years later, this family that I was talking about before moves in, and a lot of creepy shit starts happening because the furniture was all left there. Nobody moved the furniture out. Like, there's some things that were removed, but a lot of the stuff was left as is once the old lady had, passed away. And then we find out more. The daughter is pregnant. The brother goes missing for a while. He is found a little bit later. Actually, it's a pretty effective scene early on with the grandfather where he wanders out because he's got kind of dementia and stuff like that, and says she's going to take him. Talking about what's going on with, like she's out there. And meanwhile, the boy is being talked to by a puppet that is, Granny Berta, which this was actually that was a pretty damn effective scene with the puppet just talking to the boy. And says, well, I got a friend, and my friend would love to meet you. That's something you want to hear a puppet say to you. That always works out well in horror movies. He gets taken into TV. Really good makeup effects, by the way, in this. Really effective stuff. And the police are notified, but the boy isn't there. She keeps hearing from him. The sister keeps hearing from him, but she can't find him. Also, there's another brother. Pepe. He is hearing from a girl named Clara across the way. Well, like pen pals and everything, there's like these clothesline where you can pin a letter and you can do this stuff. So it's really close pen pals. But they talk and everything, and then she says, well, I know where he is. Meet me in the basement. That always works out well in horror movies. Well, he kind of gets attacked, and a lot of stuff goes down that I'm actually gonna just say you really should check this out because everything gets turned up to 11 shortly after this. The mother actually talks to a lady that has a wheelchair-bound daughter, and she hands her a prayer against all evil card because that's something that you exactly want to get from a customer in a retail shop. But so suddenly it seems like everything is kind of good once the kid's found. But the daughter is marked. The daughter's got these marks on her stomach. It turns out she's pregnant. And this ghost wants that kid. Why does the ghost want that kid? For a ritual? For the fact that they never had a kid in their previous life? Yes, and sort of. Because it actually does add up why, suddenly the boy would be rescued, after being taken and everything. And the daughter would, be targeted because she's pregnant. Then when things really kick up and the ghost starts haunting, the ghost keeps saying, mine, mine, because the ghost wants that kid. And then the mother's told the pain will follow you until you ease it, as pain would be. And then there's a seance. They bring the wheelchair-bound daughter there to basically, the daughter can see things that others can't. And then that kind of goes tits up. While the daughter is going, the daughter is pregnant, it's going around to look for answers. And she talks to a lady named Susanna that tells her about the past with the flat. It turns out the flat actually used to be one unit, and then they divided it in two. The old woman actually turned out to be her brother that wanted to always be a woman and dressed and wore makeup and everything and was cast out as a freak. Always wanted to be a mother. That's the twist right there. And it was a pretty effective twist because completely just banned from the family when nothing wrong with that. I mean, it never struck me as disturbing that, they wanted to be a mother. It's like, okay, we all want to be something different. Okay, nothing like that. If they were stealing kids, I could totally see why they wanted to fucking be that. But they had in their mind they wanted to be a woman, and man wanted to be a woman, and the family just casting that out. So then basically this seance kind of goes bad. The family all gets trapped against the wall, and the daughter reasons with Clara, wanting to, didn't want to be known by, the male name, wanted to be known as Clara. And says, Clara, I understand your pain and everything, but you have to move on. You have to let us go. Well, just enough to where she tries to stab, the stomach, trying to kill off the baby, and that releases the family. And the father tackles the girl out the window. Kind of Annabelle style, except a lot better. And then the father's dead, but the woman's not dead. The family leaves, and the family leaves. Unfortunately, there was a life insurance policy that paid off the mortgage, and everything worked out. And the daughter is still pregnant and is going to carry that on. But maybe the flat is still haunted because we see a rocking chair and we hear the phone ring again, and there's a lot of good stuff to tie back into it. So yeah, that's really what the twist was. Not bad at all though. Actually, pretty damn effective and really well acted. I'm going to give it a B plus. I really enjoyed this, so I recommend checking out 32 Malasana Street. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.